trusty CB. He's a friend to...
Been using the radio off and on for about an hour and a half now. It's 27 degrees centigrade in the shack here, and it's just very slightly warm, and the heatsink feels about the same temperature as the radio body. And when I was doing a little bit of a QC there with Dan a little earlier, I was just touching the heatsink, and it's nowhere near as hot as the original radio. Still think personally it should have had a cooling fan on the back just to help things out, but yeah, they seem to have sorted out the overheating problem, and that's probably down to those MOSFET final transistors as well, not lending themselves to being overpowered, so they've kept control on the heat, and I think that's a good thing on this radio. So one of the features that I'm really pleased that has found its way onto the radio, and it's the same on some of the cheaper Radioddity CB radios, is the built-in noise reduction system. It's a bit like a poor man's DSP, digital sound processing, that you will find on HF radios, and it can be used for TX and RX at the same time. I think if you're going to use it for transmission, you need to probably back it off quite a bit, because if you overdo it you'll end up sounding like a Dalek. But if you're going to use the radio mobile and you have the window open, or you've got a noisy car or something, it will help to cut the background noise out. On receive, as with DSP on HF radios, I think probably less is better. Again, if you overdo it you can knock out all of the background noise, but again it makes people sound like Daleks. It's accessed just by a single press. We'll have a listen to it in a moment, but just by a single press there on the display, and that brings in the noise reduction system. And also you've got the high cut as well, which is on same as the old model, and that helps. If you go into the menu system, hold down the function key, the receive noise reduction is 28 and the transmit is 29. And as we can see, we've got 5 levels of noise reduction. It defaults on number 3. We'll try it on number 2 to start with. As I say, I don't like to have it too high. So we have got a little bit of skip coming in today, which is a good thing. I'm just using the radio speaker here, no extension speaker, but we'll hear what it sounds like. Typically the skip has died off the moment I said so. Here it comes. It's a little faint. So we're going to switch on any NRC now. And there you go, that's reduced the noise down. And then we're going to switch on the high cut. So that's really reduced the background hiss. I mean, you're going to notice this more with a decent quality extension speaker, or especially if you wear headphones as well. The background hiss becomes really annoying, and you don't want to squelch it out on sideband because you'll lose channels. This guy's a little off frequency to me. Another thing you can do as well, if you want to lose the background noise in association with the NRC, is just turn the RF gain down a little bit. There we go. You can really quieten things down, especially on headphones. It's like the squelch is cutting in now. There we go. This guy's a bit crazy. So you can almost get it to HF quality. I mean, not quite, but as I say, I would use less noise reduction than use more. I'd just stand a little background here, but it's good that it's got it. I think that's a big step forward from the previous model. Now, another thing that you've got built into the radio is the ability to control the clarifier, whether you want the clarifier to work on both the receive and the transmit, which means you'll be in tune with the receiving station, or you just want it either. Now, generally I set mine up so that the clarifier just works on the receive, and then if I need to change my transmission frequency, I can just do it with the VFO. Again, that's in the menu system. You need to get this right though, otherwise it will cause you a few problems. But it's number 15 here in the menu system. Hopefully you can see that on camera. Yeah, you can. So when it comes to the clarifier set, it ships with it on R, where basically R is just enabling the receive. Oh, I've lost it. Go back again. Just enabling the receive on the clarifier. If you set it to T, that will be the transmit, so you'll be changing the transmit, and then RT is both the receive and the transmit. So you've got three options there. It does time out a little bit quick. I wish you wouldn't do that. So, or off altogether, and then you switch the clarifier off, which I can't see the point of that. So basically, I have mine on R, and you can see this little tiny R comes up on the screen there, and that works absolutely fine for me. And as I said earlier, it's nice that you can see the degree of clarification on the display. You generally find you need to use a little bit of clarification. Now the old radio did used to suffer a little bit from drift when you first switched it on, especially in the winter when it was cold in the shed shack. I used to leave mine on for a good 15 minutes to just warm up, otherwise it would be slightly off frequency when you transmit. This one hopefully will be a lot better. It seems to be a lot more stable. Again, it's 23-24 degrees in the shed shack at the moment. I won't be able to test that until we get to the winter and the temperature drops down probably below 10 degrees. But it seems, when I switch it on, it seems perfectly stable. So hopefully that has been fixed with that new circuit board. So I've noticed that the display is a bit blown out in the camera. If you want to change the backlight, you just press the function button and then the lock mode, and it goes brighter and then completely off. There seems to be about 6 different settings. That's the lowest one, and that probably works better on the camera. So that would be quite useful at night to use that. I still can't work out how to put it into VFO mode. Obviously I can adjust it on here, but it says that when it's in channel mode it will revert back every time you touch the VFO. There must be a way of getting this in VFO mode. So it says that I might be able to program the PF key on the microphone to change the channel to VF mode. So I think I need to go into this channel 30 PF key, hit that, mic gain. So these are all the different functions you can set that key. VFO mode, okay, so press function, and now if I press the PF, there you go, and now I think I'm in now VFO mode, which I am. And then if I press back the mic key there, it takes it back into channel mode. That's quite useful, but I don't know if there should be a button on the should be a button on here somewhere. It's a little odd. Right, I think I've got it now. It says a long press on the band key will change it into VFO mode. There you go. So when it says UF, so that's the key. A long press on the band key swaps it over to normal VFO mode. So it's like basically like HF radio, and then a long press takes you back to channel. I thought it would. I thought it would be on there somewhere. for me, I prefer it. I prefer it in HF mode like that. There you go. That's good. I'm pleased I found that because that was puzzling me. So when you're in VFO mode, now I've found it, you can adjust the step rate to what you want. By default, it will be on 1 kHz. But you've got quite a selection actually. You can have it up to 100 kHz, 10 kHz, 5 kHz, 1 kHz, 100 Hz, or even down to 10 Hz, which would be the very last digit. So quite a lot of adjustment there. I tend to have mine on 5 kHz, and that way I get most of the preset channels on people's radios. But yeah, quite good. And obviously, again, you can just use the VFO here to select what digit you want, and you can go, for example, on 1 kHz there, and we can just carry on 1 kHz. And I imagine when that stops flashing, now it will jump back to 5. It did, but obviously because we've slightly offset it, so we need to go to 0, let that stop flashing there, and now it'll be back on 5. Yeah, so that's quite good. They're very, very useful, that. I've got the I'm going to get the camera started, Dan. I wonder if you'd you give me a radio report. You'd be on the video, but as I say, you're the first person that I've really spoken to on this, so obviously you can recognise me, yeah?
Yeah, I recognise you now, but the tone is slightly different, but there's no problem with it. It's a clear Radio 5, no problem.
How's the so I haven't set the mic gain. How's the audio? Is it sort of clear enough, or do you think I'd need to increase the mic gain?
No, you've got a strong audio, loud and clear Radio 5, no problem at all. Your signal 9, the 5 and 9, I think they're almost on the radio now. The 5 and 9, no problem.
Oh, that's good. I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll drop the power right down. It's on about, I think we're on about 20 watts at the moment. I'm going to I'll go down to 1.5 watts and see if you still get me. So I'm going down, 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 down. Right, that's on about 1.5 watts. You still got a copy?
Yeah, you've gone quiet, but your signal 4 still quiet Radio 5. It's still clear audio, but you've gone a little bit quiet. But it's still, there's nothing wrong with the signal. You're coming through quiet and clearly.
Oh, that's a Roger. That's a Roger indeed. That's 1.5 watts. I'll turn it back up now. I'll go the other way. So this one knocks out. I've put it on a meter. It's putting out about 43 watts. Oh no, sorry, that was FM. It does about 60 watts, I think, on the upper sideband. So right, we go. Right, this is maximum now. So I should have gone up to probably about an S7 or an S8, Roger.
Yeah, you're just over the lines. Signal 5, Radio 5, and your signal's just over the lines.
That's a Roger. Well, we can always, as it's just a two of us, we can just change modes, can't we? We could go straight onto the 305 on the FM if you want, and I'll give it a go on there, Roger.
Yeah, we'll try that. But you're loud and clear 5 and 9, good solid signal, no problem at all. So do you want to switch to FM now?
Yeah, Roger. Let's go over to FM. I'll this frequency on FM, Roger.
Yeah, Roger.
Right, let's see what we sound like on FM. Should sound alright, actually. Put the squelch up. There we go. RF gain, turn it up. Okay there, Dan. You got a copy on Fred in the Shed on FM, Roger?
Yeah, me Fred. I'm just tuning in.
Okie dokie. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm gonna use the squelch on FM. But yeah, I got a copy on you.
Yeah, you're coming through loud. You're a little bit quieter on FM for some reason. But it might be my radio. It's not a specific FM radio, this, but you're coming through nice and clear.
Oh, that's all right. No, it's lower power on FM, so I've turned the power back up now. So yeah, you're sounding pretty good there. Are you on HF gear, Rog?
Yeah, I've got a HF radio there, and you're still coming 9 plus. Audio's a little quieter, but gives you a good, clear Radio 5.
Ich bin gerade noch am Grillen, also ich habe es probiert auf alle Kanäle, ich höre die Leute nicht irgendwie. Genau, da ist jemand auf der 15, aber keine Ahnung, also von der Leslie-Station und vom Dennis höre ich nichts.
26 Charlie Tango 1664 26 1664 London UK call. Roger, Roger, 1664, UK, London. Bonjour, bonjour. I got him.
Here, Germany. 1 Delta Alpha Bravo 01. For Germany, Stuttgart.
QSL, Alpha Bravo 01, Stuttgart, Stuttgart. Nice copy. Nice copy. 5x9, 5x9, England, UK. QSL. QSL, all copied, my friend. Very clear from you. Very clear from you. Operator, this name is Fred. Foxtrot Romeo Echo Delta. 20 kilometers, capital city of London. QSL, back to you, my friend.
Roger, Roger, London. Our 10 station of frequency from you. 10 station, sorry.
Yes, copy, copy there, Stuttgart. Copy, copy. Well, thank you for the contact. Thank you, my friend. And wishing you 73s, good DX, my friend. And that was a, I think it's an Alpha Bravo station from Stuttgart in Germany. The conditions are very, very poor. Lots of QSB. It's very much in and out today. But yeah, got out to him, no problem. He obviously heard me, repeated my call sign, and that's quite hopeful. I was hoping to get a sideband contact, but as I say, very poor conditions. But yeah, that's good to get out to, on Germany on the FM. Yeah, that's a good start for the QT80. Just going to do a very basic power test now. I've got this little meter here. I don't know how accurate this is, so please don't beat me up in the comments if you don't think this is as accurate as it could be. I'm going to be using Gary's little dummy load there, and that's rated at 150 watts, and I'm using a 30 amp power supply. Now, according to the owner's manual, the maximum current draw on the radio is 15 amps. Personally, I would always allow a lot of headroom on that, so you're probably fine with a 20 amp power supply at home. But the difference between a 20 amp supply and a 30 amp supply isn't all that much. So personally, I know you're going to ask me, I would say go straight for a 30 amp supply. Now, if you're going to be using this in your car, obviously you've got to be careful if you're going to plug this into an auxiliary socket. I know a lot of them are rated at 20 amps these days, but just be very, very careful. Check the stats on the car. Don't just plug it into an old-fashioned cigarette lighter socket, because they were only 10 amps and you'll end up melting something. Normally, if you're going to run this long term in your car or your truck, it's a good idea to run it to a separate feed to the battery. You have got 3 inline fuses on this one, so you should be fine in doing that. So now, when it comes down to the power, the manual says it will do 50 watts on FM, 80 watts on AM, which is quite unusual because normally AM is less than FM, and 80 watts on single sideband. I generally find that does depend on what frequency you're on. I'm just going to go right in the middle. I'm going for 27305. and I will be playing a 1 kHz tone through my phone for the sideband test to see if we can get that a little bit more accurate. So what I'll do is I'll zoom into the meter and then I'll call out what mode we're in, and we'll see what the radio kicks out. Going to key up on FM. We won't have to put any audio into the microphone because you've got a flat carrier signal. What I'll try and do this time to make it a little bit more uniform is I'm going to play a 1 kHz tone through my phone, other than me shouting down a mic. And so please, if you're wearing headphones, bear in mind that's going to get a little bit loud. I'll try and do it away from the camera. Anyway, okay, so full power on FM. Let's key up. SWR 1:1, so just very slightly over a perfect SWR, and 100% efficiency, 43 watts. So just a little bit lower than what they claim at 50, but personally I'm happy with that. The radio not even slightly warm. I'll just turn down the power meter on the power set on the radio there. Oh, it's actually, if you look at that, it almost corresponds with what's coming out the back, isn't it? 44. So that's quite linear. The old one used to jump quite quickly. You got around halfway, and then there was a massive jump. But this one, that's pretty smooth actually. There we go. All the way down to its lowest setting, 1.7 watts. So if you really felt the need to run this into an amplifier, a linear amplifier, 1.7 watts. It's probably the lowest that it will go to. Okay, right, we'll now test AM. I will have to put some audio through it because we will get a little bit of swing on AM. As I say, I'll be using my phone for that, so just bear with me. So it was a little bit all over the place, as you'd expect. So I did see about 74 watts at one point, and down to sort of 60, and it will deviate. So I suppose, yeah, the 80 watts might be viable, could be viable with modulation. Very difficult to say, isn't it, with my setup. Okay, we do sideband. Again, we're on maximum power. I'll try my phone, and then maybe I'll do it the old-fashioned way and talk into the microphone. About 50, 60 watts, something like that. I'm going to do it the old-fashioned way now. Audio, audio, audio. Audio, audio. So yeah, just coming over the 70 watts on quite a loud. I wouldn't normally talk that loud into the microphone. I've got the mic gain set reasonably low at about 33. So you could probably crank the mic gain up a little bit more. So 80 watts, yeah, that probably is accurate, to be honest. I don't think that's that optimistic on this radio. And, do you know, in some ways I'm actually pleased to see that. I just think the other radio got too hot, and I'm just feeling the back of the radio. It's barely warm. The dummy load, no, not barely warm. So now on the old radio, even with that short test, that would be getting really hot now. You'd have trouble touching it. So yeah, just barely warm. So as I say, that is a crude test. Please don't take that as gospel. Let's let someone come along that's got some proper bench equipment, but it does seem more realistic. The 80 watts on sideband, 50 watts FM, 80 watts AM. That does seem a little bit more realistic than the previous radio. Now, whether you see that as a good thing or a bad thing, I know having that high power of 100 watts was quite something on the other one. But as I say, personally, I would quite happily lose a few watts if the radio doesn't overheat and burn out those MOSFET final transistors. Okay, I hope that was useful. Time to bring this video to a conclusion, and I've checked, and I would have ended up making almost an hour's worth of video on this little radio. I've had it in the shack here for about a week now. I've been listening mainly on headphones. That's how I usually listen. And conclusions are, yeah, I absolutely love this radio. It's no surprise because I absolutely loved its predecessor, the 9900, and like its predecessor, I think this radio is going to be an absolute killing DX machine. It's such a shame that whilst I've had it in the shack here, the conditions, the propagation has been so poor last few weeks in the UK that skip's not really been in abundance. But I did get that contact out to Germany, no problem at all, on about half power on FM. So that was quite an achievement. So things I like about it myself over its predecessor. I like the fact that you've got the extra digit now on the display. It's so much more like a HF radio. And I think that makes it easier with the clarification control here, with a clarifier. You know, you've just got that extra bit of control and you can see what's happening because you couldn't really visualize that on the previous model, and it just makes it that little bit easier. I also like the NRC, the noise reduction system, especially as I've been listening on headphones. It is possible, when I was on the local 305 net with Dan and Richard, it was possible to have this on level 1 and then with the high cut on as well, and just backing off the RF gain a little bit. I lost about 80% of the background noise. So again, it's getting close to a HF radio. Very, very good feature for headphones. I think overall, I think the radio has got plenty of power. What did I get it? 43 watts on FM. I mean, that is plenty. 80 watts on AM. That was a surprise, and that will please our USA breakers, because obviously AM over there is most popular. And again, it claims 80 watts SSB, and I think it is a usable 80 watts. Now, as far as the heat goes on the radio, as I say, as I've been using it for a week, and I like to do long overs, and if you've ever speak to me on the radio, you'll know that it did heat up a bit, I will say that. It never got to the stage where you couldn't touch it, but after some long overs on sort of half power, it did heat up. And I mean, if I was to criticise it, and I really can't criticise it, really, but if I was, as I said, I think I've said about twice now, they could do with having a little fan on the back and build that into the heatsink like you get on a HF radio. I think we are reaching that level now. But I mean, overall I can't really criticise it. The price has gone up a little bit, but not substantially, and you do get that programming cable from Radioddity as well. And obviously the Radioddity programming software is free to download on their website, so you got the whole package this time with the radio. Now, before I leave you with this video, I want to express an opinion, and I want some feedback in the comments from you guys, because the developers of this radio, they will watch reviews and they will read your comments. Your comments are very important to them. And the final thing I want to say is that although this radio is very, very good, and it's the mobile design and everything, what I would absolutely love to see is this radio expanded in a larger case. A bit like a hybrid home base FREEBAND CB radio. If you're old enough to remember the old Ham International radio, do you remember they expanded that and they made the jumbo, put it into a massive case? I'm not saying anything that big, but imagine this in a larger case with a front firing speaker, a 3-inch LCD screen with a waterfall and a spectrum display, a few more pots. So for example, like the noise cancellation, you could have that on a separate pot, and a few of the other controls. I would love to see this radio expanded into a home-based stroke HF radio, because we are getting to the sort of stage now where this is really becoming more of a HF radio than a FREEBAND CB. So let me know in the comments, is that something that you would love to see as well in the future? We probably will never get it, but did you feel the need for a larger home-based radio? Anyway, going to wrap it up. So obviously, links in the description for this radio if you want to go ahead and check it out yourself. I won't get a discount on it, unfortunately. It's too new on the market. I did try, but can't get you anything off. Sorry about that. Anyway, if you've stuck through the 2 videos, massive appreciation from Fred in the Shed. Thank you. It was a lot of viewing, wasn't it? Thumbs up as always for your view time. Do appreciate you dropping by. Hang on to the end because I've got a new outro. I got a new song that one of my subscribers wrote for me, and I think it's flipping awesome. So just hang on for that for this video. But anyway, as always, thumbs up from Fred in the Shed. Please, please, please look after each other for me. Stay safe, and loads of other stuff coming up. And catch you on the next video. Cheers, guys.
Fred's in the shed where the magic unfolds. Fred in the shed with his trusty CB. He's a friend to the lonely on a frequency.